The water crisis happening right now in Jackson raises questions for cities and rural water associations in Northeast Mississippi and even across the U.S. Right now at 7:32, we have a live interview coming your way this morning with Dr. Chris Surbeck, who chairs the Civil Engineering Program at Ole Miss. Good morning, Dr. Surbeck. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So starting off, I want to ask, how can a city get to a place of such disrepair right now with their water system or any other critical infrastructure for that matter?
Usually that state of disrepair comes from underfunding over many, many years. And so it's kind of like if you own a car and you never change the oil, after several years your engine fails. But if you had been changing the oil appropriately periodically over the years, you wouldn't have that problem with the engine. And it's kind of the same thing. It's a lack of funding and a lack of maintenance for many reasons.
I see. So now we're told that Jackson's water situation is extremely dire. Do you think that there are maybe other cities around the area that are dealing with possibilities of water system problems like this?
Well, yeah, Jackson, of course, is making headlines across the country, but there are other places in similar situations or that can be in a similar situation. And so there are cities across the country. Famous one is Flint, Michigan, that we started hearing about many years ago. But more locally, we really need to be concerned about the smaller rural water associations because sometimes, in some cases, their financial situation is not so good for investing in replacing major equipment.
Okay. So now last year, the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law approved. Does that relate to what's happening in Jackson or maybe other water systems around the country?
Yeah, that bipartisan infrastructure law is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It's good news because it's $1 trillion around the country for infrastructure projects such as water supply projects and roads and bridges. And so it's good news for Mississippi, for Jackson, for local water associations, because in the case of water, Mississippi is slated to receive $75 million from that law. And so that's good news that there will be this influx of money to be able to be spent on major renovations or replacement of equipment. Not going to be enough, but it's a good start.
Okay, well that ties into my next question. So you said $75 million coming from that bill, the $1 trillion infrastructure plan. So now, in addition to that $75 million, you said it's not going to be enough. Do you think more funding sources are needed to make these upgrades to the water systems? And if so, where would that money come from?
Yes, well, first I should say that normally these water systems are funded in part from the water bills that become income for the water system, so that the bills that we pay every month are part of the funding necessary to maintain and operate these water treatment systems. Typical way to fund major renovations is through state revolving loan programs, but even that sometimes is not enough. One other way that many cities across the country have been trying is public-private partnerships, where these public localities like cities and counties will partner with a private business to together operate these water treatment systems. So that is one avenue that communities can look at for funding.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Ms. Dr. Surbeck. That's all the time we have this morning. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.